What are we doing with Juan? We have all fucking day to get this ready for a 2 o'clock deal. I have 50 meetings to go to. And I show up and we have one of the most important announcements to go, and we can't get it done. It happens every fucking time. It's just ridiculous. I need to jump off the fucking building. Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people. Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
Great, and we have a hot mic, guys.
What truth is.
And we have a hot mic. Well, so you got the hot mic. Good. You can see that I'm pissed that we can't seem to go live on time at a podcast. We're just, yeah. Sorry, everyone. You get to see my frustration. Yeah. We had an update from Tina Peters. We don't have an update for Tina Peters right yet. We'll get it by the end of the show. So you will hear about Tina Peters by the end of the show. So Juan was not late. We were late. We couldn't get it out in time. So he's going to get on a plane, fly wherever, and we will then talk about it there as well. Look, it's hard enough sitting here for 2 hours giving you all the things that go through my brain and what's happening, but sorry. So I will apologize for my hot mic moment. But yeah. I don't know what the update is on Tina. So we'll talk about Tina later on in the show. We have a guest too, if we can get that done. I don't know if we can. Let's just get to the first cut. First cut is Trump rallying for Bibi. I have my opinions of this. Go ahead and play it.
Because you can't deal with them. They're really irrational. They really are. But I was happy to see that a tremendous liability to this country, a woman that made herself rich in this country, Nancy Pelosi, has quit, and she'll be out of here pretty soon. And that I consider that to be a great asset for America.
Okay, that's not the final warning. Can we play cut one, please? All right. Okay. So I'm just going to what do they call it when you just talk? I wonder if this is like a normal. I don't think I've ever seen a show where it goes like this for anyone. So maybe this is new. This is like the new thing. We'll just suck really bad, and you guys can listen to us suck really bad. I'm not. By the way, I do appreciate you telling me that the hot mic. I don't actually care that I had to have my hot mic. My frustration is no less valid with you hearing it. Breathe, stop, drop, and roll. No, I don't want to do that. Well, we're going to sit here for a minute, and I'm just going to figure out whether or not I'm going to do a show today, because I might not. There's a lot to go over, and yet I can't really go over any of it because I have no ability to show you anything. So let's at least put this up here. So let's do this. Let's show you the letter that Bibi, that President Trump wrote to the Israeli president Isaac Herzog. Can we put that up? That's not the letter.
On the link, scroll down. Click on the green link, scroll down.
Okay. Let me read this to you. Not that link. That's not the link. Don't worry. I'll read you the letter. We'll figure this out. This is our first time on a podcast, guys. Sorry. Mr. President, it's my honor to write you this historic time as we have together just secured peace that has been sought for at least 3,000 years. I hereby thank you and all Israelis again for your gracious and warm hospitality, and I'm addressing a key topic of my speech at the Kisnet. As the great state of Israel and the amazing Jewish people move past the terribly difficult times of the last 3 years, I hereby call on you to fully pardon Benjamin Netanyahu, who has been a formidable and decisive wartime prime minister. He is now leading Israel into a time of peace, which includes my continued work with key Middle East leaders to add many additional countries to the world-changing Abraham Accords. Prime Minister Netanyahu has stood tall for Israel in the face of strong adversaries and long odds, and his attention cannot be unnecessarily diverted. While I absolutely respect the independence of the Israel justice system and its requirements, I believe that this case against Bibi, who has fought alongside me for a long time, including against a very tough adversary of Israel, Iran, in a political, unjustified prosecution. Isaac, we have established a great relationship, one I'm very thankful for and honored by, and we agree as soon as I was inaugurated in January, the focus had to be centered on finally bringing the hostages home and getting a peace agreement done. Now that we have achieved these unprecedented successes and are keeping Hamas in check, it is time to let Bibi unite Israel by pardoning him and ending the lawfare once and for all. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, President Trump. Okay. I'm just going to say it. I don't give a shit about Bibi. I don't even care about Israel. Don't care. I don't care. I care that by the end of 2021, over 700 Americans were rotting in a gulag for 1512 charge of trespassing, basically, or trespassing on your own property, by the way. So you're trespassing on government property, which belongs to the people. So you were trespassing on there, even though the doors are left open. And 1512 of interfering with a official proceeding. A law that was created because of Enron. So they applied for paper, then they applied it to people and said, oh yeah, we're just going to throw all these people in jail and throw away the key. Now, in that time, they also charged people with sedition and crimes that we know we've seen being committed by Democrats. Now, one person has been prosecuted. We're 8 weeks right now from the statute of limitations on the Fedsurrection. You had Steve Baker that came out and blew a hole in the J5, J6 pipe bomber. The DOJ and the FBI said they're going to refuse to prosecute. Then you have cover by Julie Kelly and Dan Bongino's little Mean Girls crew. They get together and they decided that it's nothing burger. And then, you can't trust Kyle Seraphin, the guy that gave up his life and when his wife was 8 months pregnant, had to become homeless because he stood up for the American people. I mean, God forbid we literally listen to the right people. And then people try to reason with me and said, well, maybe Julie Kelly, she tried to do. Not one of these people that say they're on our side are on our side. Not one of them. It's kabuki theater. It's all bullshit. You think they care about anything? You know what? We had Roger Stone get perp walked out of his house. Perp walked out of his house. You had Mike Flynn, literally perp walked out of his house for lying to the FBI. And the FBI can't tell the truth that they were standing on it. And so I'm supposed to care about Bibi? I'm supposed to care about Netanyahu. We can't even get the answers. We can't even get to the bottom of this. October 7th. Why did it take 7.5 hours for somebody to respond to it? Israel is the size of New Jersey. You could drive across the damn thing in 2.5 hours. So please tell me why everyone gets a free pass. Why is it that we only get to talk about what they tell us we can talk about? And now we're gonna worry about Israel, I don't want to worry about them. I don't give a shit about them. You know why? Because we haven't even focused on America first, like our own people. And as every day goes by and we got Kardashian Patel and we got all this, I still got to go to court on the Coomer deal. And I'm thinking to myself, you have enough evidence to basically arrest everyone associated with the election. Every single person. And yet we still have Matt DePerno going through a persecution. We still have Stephanie Lambert going through a persecution. John Eastman is still being disbarred in California. That's still happened. You got the stuff down in Georgia with Harrison Floyd. Everyone else are getting ready to, as a formality, to get rid of that case. But yet the people that were responsible for it, none of those people were held accountable. But God forbid Bibi be held accountable for charges in his own judiciary for corruption. God forbid that happen. This is the part that make it make sense to me. You know, I said yesterday, we don't need a third party. We need a second one. We need one that represents the people at any level. I mean, throw a dog a bone. Get rid of machines and mail-in ballots. But here's the problem. You can't get Democrats or Republicans to do a damn thing that helps the people. Not a damn thing. Now, we'll just raise your taxes. We'll say you're not paying enough. We'll talk about the fact that police do bad things to black people. That's not really the case. The system literally just persecutes with impunity everyone. But because the left's big thing was eugenics, because Margaret Sanger and these people didn't want black people, brown people, green people to have too much power, they're like, oh yeah, we represent you. As we degrade your schools, as we take away educational opportunities, as we remove the trades, as we build school to prison pipelines, and then say it's the white people in the suburbs. Those are the people that actually caused all of this to happen. And we wonder why we sit where we are right now. How we sit where we are. We debate the ridiculous. And frankly, we couldn't even have a conversation if we were standing on it, on doing the right thing by the American people. Now, we're too hung up on Jeffrey Epstein. We can't do the right thing because it's judges and lawyers and politicians, and they happen to be my friend. Dude, if your friend's a pedophile in hiding, you need new friends. They should go to prison. They should be dragged behind a car till body parts fall off. And you wonder why Antifa exists. It exists because we don't hold anybody accountable. And we say to ourselves, we get up on a stage and we have the CPAC and PPAP and whatever, all these different organizations. They do nothing to excite the spirit of America today. Nothing. They do zero. And you wonder why a guy like Hakeem Jeffries can actually be elected. He's not, number one. And number two, he's dumber than a box of rocks. You got a bunch of people that walk around using dog whistles, and we're not able to combat it with reason because we give them air. But I get it. Let's worry about Bibi, Mr. President. I mean, they did the same thing to President Trump in 2000. It's the same playbook. Only they had 4 years to groom and say that, oh, we're good people. We're going to do right by the American people. Kardashian Patel is not doing right by the American people. He has weaponized the system with his girlfriend, Alexis, because they said mean things about her. Well, they said mean things about her because he flew around on a private jet setting, with Deputy Doofy badge on his side. I've never seen, by the way, an FBI agent wear a shield on his belt. I don't think I've ever seen that. It's new. It's a new thing, I guess. So you can look cool. Who sells medallions that I don't. It's not even normal. We can't even have a normal conversation about anything because we're so worried about stuff that frankly people don't care about. But the media picks it up and people literally foam at the mouth and walk around, oh, it's so great, this is so great. It's not so great. We literally have had and up and down, 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 up and down for the last 20 years. We had Bush. We thought he was good. Turns out he was terrible. He just wanted to kill a bunch of Arabs. You know, weapons of mass destruction. They walked around doing all this stuff, then beat Bob. We find out that's not true. It's just another one of those lies by the CIA and the intelligence community. Just made it up as they went along and say, we'll sell it to the American people because they're stupid. And how do we know we're stupid? Because Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton said it before Bush was even elected. He goes, yeah, these people will believe anything. And you do. You believe anything. You hold to the highest esteem some of the dumbest people known to man. And you forgive certain people while they build an entire group over here of how can we literally just take everyone out? How can we destroy the credibility of Joe? How can we destroy the credibility of Kyle Seraphin? How can we destroy the credibility of the suspendables? How can we, it goes down the line. You didn't do enough, you didn't have enough, right? They just browbeat the hell out of you, and then you pick it up. Oh yeah, Ben Shapiro's a good guy. Ben Shapiro's an idiot. He's a talking head. He has a teleprompter and he's got a bunch of notes in front of him. Have you ever seen a politician, by the way, stand at the podium and just talk? I think the only person I've ever seen do that is President Trump. Everyone else does this. They have a piece of paper in front of them and they just flip the paper and they talk and they say what's exactly on the next piece of paper. Those are the people you elect. Not people that literally say, okay, here's the things I'm going to talk about, here's the things I need to know that are important. But what did they do to President Trump in 2017? He got nothing done. They got to 2018, had a midterm, lost the House and the Senate. President Trump was just sitting there. Oh, I'm sorry. And then they impeached him. What do you think they're doing right now? He's making all these decisions, but the things that he wants to get done stateside in our own country, he can't get it done. You got Pam do-nothing Bondi. You got Tina Peters still in jail. You got Todd Blanche that has to get pressured by Peter Tickton and President Trump to write a letter. And then the Bureau of Prisons doesn't even recognize that they're actually having conversations with the feds. This is not them looking or making a mistake. This is not looking incompetent. This is not, oops, we made a mistake. They're doing it on purpose because they don't give a shit about the American people. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, or a purple dinosaur with webbed feet. Don't care. You tell me something that's been done in the last 10 months that makes your life better. I promise you there's nothing that makes your life better. Oh, there's less crime inside of DC because you have the National Guard there. Okay, yeah, you got it. People still are in a place of perpetual bullshit all day, every day. They still were victimized for 4 years under Biden. They were still forced to put poison in their body. They were still forced to be in a position where they lost their mothers and their fathers and their husbands and their wives. That still happened. All of that still happened. And not one person's been held accountable. Chris says, I doubt very much that Cash is the first person to use his private jet plane to visit his girlfriend. Man, this is a club and we're not in it. Do you know how angry I was when they arrested Chauncey Billups and they announced that they busted it? You know, when I was poor, when I grew up super poor, I was invisible to everyone. And I actually didn't mind it. It's fine. But I started to see that the rules don't apply to poor people. They can do whatever they want to poor people because who are the poor people going to tell? Who are you going to tell? See, there is some things that the left did get right. And that is the system just treats people like shit. Now, they don't want to solve the problem. They just want to use them as useful idiots to fight everybody else so they can steal and rob and do the things that they're doing now and turn it into just a complete communist shithole where everyone sucks except for the couple people at the top. And then that eventually will lead to the degradation of society so badly that you don't have to worry about it because 90% of the people will just wipe each other out. And they'll sit back and they'll laugh and they'll say, well done to each other. But now it's different. Now I see it clearly now. It had nothing to do with being poor. It wasn't a construct of you make 80 grand or you make 5 grand. Nothing to do with it. They enjoy creating winners and losers. They enjoy it. They like to say, "Oh, we busted, we got them. They broke the law. They had an illegal poker game." I'm going to take you back in time. It was 2002. I was at a poker game with a bunch of guys. There's probably 100 grand on the table. In walks whatever the people is, the police. They're like, "Oh, well, we're going to break up your game." They were very nice because there were some important people there. True story. I was like, "Oh shit, this is not going to end well." And it turns out it ended fine. We all got our money back, but we had an illegal poker game. I kept saying to myself, how in the heck did they know we were playing poker? I remember this guy sitting across the deal, that pretty wealthy guy, and he's like, "Oltmann." I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Shut up." I was like, "You don't get an argument from me." And I just shut up. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was able to hang out with some of the people I was hanging out with, because I didn't loose lips sink ships. You don't talk about it. So why do I care about Netanyahu? I care about people. Yesterday we had on a guy that Jason spent 34 years in prison. And I have never gotten this many text messages and emails saying, "Joe, that was probably the best show that I've watched." And I care about that guy, because when you start picking and choosing what laws you're going to enforce and what people you're going to be subjected to prosecution, then it's not prosecution, it's persecution. The entire system then is designed to punish people, to take from them. But we know that the government officials, Nancy Pelosi insider traded for 30 years and then said, "Oh, no, I didn't." They made an app on Nancy Pelosi. They just followed all of her stock purchases, and people made millions just following her stock purchases. They even made policy decisions that you could surmise what policy was coming next by what she bought in stock. And yet no one did anything to her. She took a $170,000 a year job and turned it into $400 million. How many of you would want to be able to have that happen? But don't worry, Chauncey Billups is going to go to jail because he had an illegal poker game and he bet on games. And the amount of people, I went and looked at an article on Fox News. The amount of people are like, "Yeah, get him," on the comments, makes me sick. Makes me absolutely sick. Well, they're not above the law. But everyone else in government is. They can do what they want. So no, I don't give a shit about Bibi. Why would I care about Bibi? Do you know who actually put Hamas on the map? Israel. I'm going to try and play cut A1. This is final warning. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to play cut 3 because we just saw the thing. Cut 3, this is Benjamin Netanyahu. He helped funnel funds to Hamas through Qatar. $3.5 million a month. Let's go and play it.
אישית, אתה יזמת העברת כסף קטרי לחמאס, יחד עם מוחמד אל-עמדי, אתה הובלת את זה, בהוראה שלך אישית, אתה הובלת. ב-2020 אתה שולח את ראש מוסד, יוסי כהן, יחד עם הרצל הלוי,
along with Halsey, Halabi in order to increase the amount of Qatari money. So why are you against the governmental institution? Because all the meetings are recorded in minutes, word for word. You can't run and hide. You can't shift the blame onto others. And you can't say you knew nothing. That's Netanyahu listening inside of the trial. We have a cartel problem in our country. We have a cartel problem. I frankly just want to be left alone. If you would have not stolen the election in 2020, let President Trump win, and then played your nonsense out, if you would have not killed millions of Americans during COVID, that would have led to me not getting involved in anything. I wouldn't have gotten involved in anything. You wouldn't have seen me on the, I wouldn't be on, I'd probably still have a podcast where it'd still be Joe Otto. I'd still be talking about things that I think are important in the community. But you murdered Americans. You committed genocide. And then you covered up for the big pharma. So this apparatus, this cartel that is run by specific people that happen to be tied back to all being a part of this Jewish cabal. And were there Catholics in there too? Yes. Were there Mormons in there too? We know there are. Wayne Williams. Are there bad people? But yeah, but predominantly, overly represented is a group of people that literally stand together to destroy and take away the sovereignty of individual people and a nation, which is what they did in 2020. What's what they did in 2018, what they did in 2016. You don't think they tried to steal the election from President Trump? Okay, go back in time, 2016. President Trump had a 1% chance of winning. The media told you he had a 1% chance of winning. By the way, you remember all the stuff that I told you was taken off of the Wayback Machine? Do you know what they took down from the Wayback Machine? Those articles and those writings that said that President Trump had a 1% chance of winning in 2016. And in 2016, I made a bet on President Trump, and I was like, listen, there is no way in hell President Trump loses. Because the amount of enthusiasm for President Trump in 2016 was through the roof. You could taste it, how much the American people were sick and tired of being sick and tired with Obama. You could taste it. We get told every day that we don't know what we're talking about. The American people, you guys, it's too complicated. Well, I spent years in the Middle East and Africa. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not that complicated. What makes it complicated is people that want to make it complicated so they can steal everything from you. But God forbid you bet because you're an NBA player. I remember playing basketball with Chauncey Billups at Utah Park in Colorado, Aurora, Colorado. I was one of the few white people out there. And I would go out there, and he was awesome. He was a great basketball player. But I had this massive attitude. Right when I got here, I was 21 years old. And I had this massive attitude problem. I mean, massive. I had an attitude from hell. And I would go play basketball with him, and he was awesome. He was a great dude. Nothing's changed. He went on to have a storied career, but they get to throw him in jail. All while Kardashian Patel, he's the arbiter of reality. So because he can tell us that we get to throw these people in jail and FBI is tough on crime. It's not tough on crime. It's tough on whatever. It's tough on persecuting Americans. And yeah, do some of them need to go to jail? Yeah, they do, 100%. But here's Kardashian Patel. This is Kardashian Patel. He's the head of the FBI. What's the FBI? What is the FBI? The FBI is the national security force, federal security force for the country. It's the intelligence community that oversees the United States. But no. That's not what he is anymore. Now he's an expert on who we need to prioritize. Play it.
We will shut off the machinery that feeds money into Iran. We will no longer have 100 hostages still in captivity, Israeli and American and otherwise, by Hamas and Iran's Hezbollah mercenary forces. We need America to wake up and prioritize Israel, and bring home Israelis and make sure we stand by our #1 ally in Israel.
Can you put a still up of him, please? Put a still up so you can see this. Can you put a still up of Kash Patel? Just put the video up.
Hezbollah mercenary forces.
Stop.
We need America to wake up and prioritize.
Okay. Do you see what's on his lapel on his right shoulder? Anybody see that? Let me tell you what that is. That's Kardashian Patel's brand. This is the head of the FBI, the most prestigious law enforcement organization in the country, if not the world. And this piece of shit is wearing a cash pin. Who does that? Please tell me I'm wrong here. Please tell me. No, Joe, he's got a brand, man. He's got to protect his brand because, you know, his country singer superstar girlfriend doesn't have a hit. I don't even know. Oh, she's 26. People say, oh, she's 20. Leave her alone, Joe. No. You sued people for saying you were Mossad. But I'm sorry, not Mossad, a honeypot. And that somehow that related to, and you want $5 million. You never made $5 million your entire life. You probably won't make it your entire lifetime. And this is, just to be a little funny, this is Kash Patel being asked about being of Israel. So play it.
Patel, the American people want to know, how does it feel to be a cup for Israel? Answer the question.
We're seeing and hearing what the FBI is doing on a daily basis.
You're claiming to serve the American people. You're serving Israel. Does it feel to be Israel's bitch? You don't care about kids getting raped. The American people want to know.
He's a patriot.
Patriot?
He's a patriot.
Rape kids? Is patriotism to
Thank
you?
you for your service, Darren.
Kids?
You're an idiot.
I'm an idiot? Really?
Yes, you are.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. This is where the left and right get bipolar, okay? Because it can't figure out what the truth is. Look, I have sat at a table and broke bread with Kyle Seraphin. I've met his wife, I've met his kids. I've met his friends that he's known for 20 years that happened to show up for dinner. Nothing about Kyle came to my house. Nothing about Kyle is fake. Nothing about Kyle. Look, I will tell you this. Kyle Seraphin has zero patience for stupid. I will admit he kind of is a jerk. He comes off as a jerk sometimes. But have your wife be 8 months pregnant, have to sell your home and be homeless, drive away in a car with everything you own right behind you because you decided to stand up for the American people, and all of a sudden those people want to turn you into some sort of op, some sort of like candy that they can run through the aisles. And that's just not the way he's built. And then have Kardashian Patel say, oh, you know, he's just a podcaster. Show me again what Kardashian Patel has actually accomplished in his life. I want to know. Oh, he was sucking on the government tit on a previous job? Oh, he's a lawyer? Those are the qualifications for being important? He got his own little cash deal? Tell me what he did. I mean, does he run a call center in India too? Does he have one of those? Maybe that's his, maybe. But we prioritize things we shouldn't be prioritizing. And we don't even take care of the people you say you're here to serve. I'm here to serve the American people. Show me. You have kid gloves being with Comey and Letitia James. And it's basically central casting. Tina Peters still in jail. And yeah, maybe she gets out. I don't know. Juan O'Savin will hopefully give us an update. And here's a report: U.S. to build $500 million military base in Israel on the Gaza border. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. I don't want to give up on humanity, at least not the one that we get run through what we're doing now. I just don't see. I see the priorities that we had when President Trump came in. I see them all slipping away. Because I actually don't care what happens overseas if you can't take care of the people here. And he's like, oh, I have the tariffs. Tariffs are on. Tariffs are off. Mr. President, I support you 100%, 1,000%, 1,000,000%. But the people you have working for you, they're Judases and the Brutuses. It's just a matter of time till one of them actually sets you up for you to take the fall. And if we get through the 2026 season and we still have machines, and more importantly, we still have mail-in ballots that they can use in the machines, you're not safe. You can make a deal with them all you want. And by the time you're gone, it will be a very unsafe place for your children, your grandchildren. They're coming for you too. This fear of loss, this whole idea. I mean, you have ice that runs through your veins when it comes to business. Just do the math. And these people that keep telling you, oh, Mr. President, we're doing the best we can. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not doing the best you can. Here's the directive. Here's the things I need you to do. Go do it. And right now you got Comey, maybe, and you got Letitia James. Man, you're redeeming yourself fully. When's our guest going to be in? He is in? All right, it's going to get pretty spicy. Halsey English is a geopolitical expert. He's a commentator. He's probably heard a little bit of what I've said, depending on how long he's been here. I'm not a fair weather guy. Like my team, I just screamed at him. You got at the very beginning, you got to hear a hot mic, because I expect that we are going to be competent. I expect I was in a meeting starting at 6 o'clock this morning on the business side. And one of the clients said, hey, Joe, I have a problem. And I was like, okay, what's the problem? And he told me, and I literally, while he's on the phone with me, I said, hey, do me a favor. Will you transfer over to the Zoom? By the way, I'm going to bring the team in. I want to make sure we resolve this. It was 6:30 in the morning. I woke everyone up. And I was like, all right, let me just explain to you what happened. I'm going to call his name Mike. His name's not Mike. And I was like, hey, listen, Mike called me this morning, and we were on our call, 8 o'clock his time, 6 o'clock my time. And I go, these three things didn't get done. The deadline was Friday. The Gantt shows that everything will be done by Monday. Why am I on Wednesday? And why is Mike calling me? And why is Mike having to apologize for our behavior to the people that he works for? I said, you have until 11:30 this morning to get all of these things done. I woke them up at 6:30 in the morning. They got on the call. These are all people you could walk in. Matter of fact, people that know me. I had a chance to go to watch a hockey game last night. Avs won with a friend that I haven't seen in a little bit. And someone said to him that you want me, he's basically trying to say that I'm a bad guy. He goes, look, I've known Joe for a long time. I've known him over a decade. You want me to say he's a bad guy? I won't do it. That's not a matter of me being a bad guy. And by the way, that ended poorly. He basically doesn't work for me anymore. But the reality of it is that I expect certain things. I should be able to expect those same certain things from my government. I should be able to expect competence. And where there isn't competence, get them the fuck out. That's my expectation. Let's bring him on. How you doing, brother?
I am doing great. I've been listening to you for a while. So I heard you like pushback, so I'm going to give you a little bit.
I'll take it.
Okay. Number one, that clip about Netanyahu funding Hamas through Qatar, that was by Avigdor Lieberman. Mm-hmm. Number one, it was a bad translation. That's not what he said.
What did he say?
And what he said was we know that you facilitated the money that went from Qatar to Hamas. Now, The reason he facilitated it is because he wanted the accountability, knowing where it was going. It was going no matter what. He had no control over whether it was going. It was international aid. He sent the Israelis to talk to them about where it was going and how it was going to be spent and how they would monitor whether it was going to actually build hospitals and shit like that or whether it was going to go to weapons. So when he was saying, "Oh, you were in on it, you knew about it," yes, of course he did. He just left out the whole part about everyone knew about it. The whole government did. He's in the opposition. That's why it was kept from him.
Okay, so is he a good guy or a bad guy? Because I mean, over time, go ahead.
He's a Russian guy, and he's very Russian, and his entire constituency is Russian. And
is that bad?
It depends how you're looking at it. Like, he's been accused of corruption a few times. He's kind of right wing on some things. He's kind of left wings on some things, but he's rabidly secular, which I really don't like. So I like to know my politician. I think that Bibi believes in God, and I think that that's important. Whether you're as practicing as I am or not, that's different. Which, by the way, I don't know if Tommy told you, but I'm Jewish.
I know you're.
He got a whole bunch.
I'm partially Jewish.
No, I'm being sarcastic. Tommy got a whole bunch of shit because people were writing to him like, "You do know he's Jewish, right?" As if that means I can't talk. So I was just making a joke. I was just making a joke with you.
Yeah, no, look, brother, I got to tell you, I have, and this is, this is like having black friends. My family's interracial, by the way, so I don't just have black friends. My whole family's interracial. But I'm a Jewish Christian Catholic. I don't even know how you'd put me in the. I'm a mutt, and I do qualify. I think I could go get, citizenship in Israel, just based upon
anyone who has one Jewish grandparent can.
Correct.
The only restriction you face on becoming an Israeli citizen is if you are not Jewish by Jewish law, you can't get married there. They'll recognize your marriage, but you can't get married in Israel. They don't have civil marriage there. They only have religious marriage.
Yeah.
So just so you know, I'm a mutt too. My father grew up Catholic. My great uncle is Admiral William Halsey. That's who I'm named after.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome,
but.
Actually. You got to keep that one going.
It's been in my family for 4 generations. All the males have the first name Halsey, and in real life we go by our middle names. Otherwise, we get pretty confusing. Yeah. But when I went online, I started going by my first name. So
I got to bring this up because I got to bring this up because I think it's important.
Sure.
I have friends on both sides. Like I have
Me too.
Both sides being politically of Jews bad. They're killing people, and Jews good. You have to support Jews no matter what, right? And so what I've done on the show is look. I've been over there. I spent 6.5 years I spent 6.5 years over in the Middle East and Africa. I was on the ground, had my eyes on things that were happening geopolitically, and let's say in every country in the Middle East I've been to, everyone, Syria, Egypt, Chad, Sudan, Bahrain, Lebanon, Libya, you name it, I've been there, right? Egypt, Syria, Saudi Arabia. So, and I had seen some pretty terrible things. And everybody's like, "Oh, you got to hate Muslims." You got the other one say, "You got to hate Muslims." I'm like, I can't do that either. So I found that, and I don't know if you were on it when I said this before, is Ben Carson the same as P. Diddy? Right? Are they the same? Right? Two completely different black people, right? But if I said that everyone that was black was P. Diddy, I would hate everybody, right? Same thing can be said for Israel. I think, and I have family that's in Israel today, and nobody there can get along, but most of the Israeli people feel like they're being held hostage. Most. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I think what you're doing is something that I actually warn people against, because I think we have enough evidence, and you saying you're from a biracial family, like you can see it yourself. When we collectivize people, we force them to defend their trash. Okay? And when you say Jews, there are left-wing Jews, right-wing Jews, communist Jews, libertarian Jews, Republican, Democrat. People are individuals, right?
Correct.
But when we just accept that we're Jews, right? Again, it forces us to defend our trash. The same thing happened with black people, because they came here and had no culture because they came here as slaves, right? They're black people. So they're forced to defend their trash because people go, "Well, you're black. Well, so is P. Diddy, and he's a piece of shit." You know what I'm saying? White people have fallen for this trap much more recently. It used to be you were German, you were Irish, you were Catholic, you were whatever group you found your community was.
Right.
And now the left does their absolute best to collectivize us because then they make us defend our trash. Okay, we can't talk about the history we have in this country and what our different groups have done to make this country fantastic. We have to start talking about some rapist in Idaho who, banged some little kid, and it's like I don't even have any idea who that is. Yeah, but he's white. Like why are you sticking up for white people? Collectivization is bad in general. We should be looking at most people as individuals. I think that that's really important.
All right, so how do we separate? This is going to be fascinating because you're going to be able to give me a lesson here, and I need it because I'm having a hard time conceptualizing some of the bad people that are out there, and how do I individualize what they're doing when they actually act as a cartel? And so I use this World Economic Forum as an instance in that, and I know that what's his name? Klaus Schwab is actually a raised Catholic, I think Protestant actually. And he has, a mixed family. And then you look at Yuval Noah Harari, guy is absolutely terrible. I look at some of the other people that represent, you call them Jewish. These are atheistic Jews, don't believe in God, don't believe in anything, right? And but they happen to be Jewish, but they hide behind the Jewish people. So they don't believe in God. They just say, okay, I'm Jewish, and by the way, we're different than white people. And yet they have built a cabal. They have built a fraternity, cartel of people that operates in a way that they move together, they make decisions together, and they do real harm. I mean, this is real harm being done globally. So how do you separate that? You call it the synagogue of Satan? Do you call it they don't believe in God anyway. They said they're going to become the gods. You all know Harari.
Well, look at it this way. But look at it this way, right? You bring up a good example is Soros, right? So I could look at Soros as a Jew, but I don't. Soros is just a piece of shit. I don't care what background he comes from. But look at his family. He's married. His son married a Muslim. He has Catholics that work with him. He has all kinds of different people, right? But when I got someone who comes up to me and go, well, Jews are pieces of shit. What do you mean? Well, look at Soros. Soros has nothing to do with me, right? I hate Soros as much as the next person. I don't look at him like, oh, he's Jewish, therefore he's better than the other pieces of shit. He's just a titanic piece of shit, right? Just like Bezos' ex-wife, who's probably worse than Soros at this point, at the amount of money she's giving to communist causes, right? So when people do this, and look at but look at the cabal you're speaking about, like George Soros, Joe Biden, Hakeem Jeffries, Obama. These people, they're not black and Jewish and Catholic. They're their own criminal communist cult.
They're demons.
Yeah, in a sense. I'd be more than happy to use that word. But what I'm saying is that all of them are going to use their ethnicities as cover. Because then they get people, because someone comes up to me and go, you Jews are pieces of shit. Why? Because of Soros. Well, we're not pieces of shit. Fuck that guy. And it's kind of like now, but if you're going to now lump me in with him and saying like Jews need to be expelled or whatever it may be, or this and this, now all of a sudden you're saying that me and him are in the same boat. Yeah. So what am I supposed to say? No, just kill him, but not me? Like, it doesn't work that way. If you're talking about killing a collective, then we collectivize. That's just the way that people are. And it's the same thing with white people. White people, they do it all the time. Like, oh, white people, look at, they did this, or they did slavery, or they did that, right? And it's like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Like, do you really believe there are white people today who think slavery was awesome? If there are, they're such a minority that it couldn't
almost
be, it would be a statistic. Yeah, it would be a statistical anomaly,
yeah.
Right?
Or so insignificant you couldn't probably measure it effectively.
But what I want to tie it into what you were talking about before, because you were doing something that I caution against, right? You say Trump is doing X when we have X problem that he could be dealing with, right? We don't have any evidence he's not dealing with those things. Gas prices are down, groceries are down. There's a lot of things that are getting better in this country. Now, could he do everything tomorrow? Of course not. It's silly to even think that he could. Right? But he is doing stuff. But at the same time, for the last, 2 years, the entire country has been saying either we need to support Israel with everything we've got, or we need to get the hell out of that area, or we need to sanction Israel, whatever it is. But the general consensus amongst most people is they want this to stop. They want America to stop focusing on the Middle East and start focusing on America.
Yes.
That takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes doing things that when we look at it and we go, hey, wait a minute, why is he engaged in the Middle East? Well, how do you stop it? You can't just say, hey, by the way, guys, we're leaving tomorrow, because then you could lead to World War III, right? So this whole thing with Bibi and the letter, it's a silly thing, and it probably took 2 seconds because he's been saying it for months that the corruption charges that Bibi saying they're worse than the impeachment charges they brought up Trump on. They're like really, really stupid. And everyone knows they're really stupid. And most of the left in Israel says they're very stupid. And they admit that they're just doing it because it gives them some level of control over Bibi.
Right.
Right? So if Trump is saying, pardon the guy, let's get this out of the way, we have work to do, he's just doing that either A, to show that he's still engaged, B, because he actually wants them to stop because he's trying to get Bibi to do something, and he feels like Bibi still has to play this stupid game with the courts. Or C, maybe he just really feels like, hey, this guy is persecuted the same way I am. I'm just going to write this letter and see if it does anything. Right? Because Trump does have a degree of popularity in Israel that his words do matter. You know? So
here's my problem. And I started it this way. By this time in 2021, over 700 Americans were living in substandard conditions in gulags in Washington, D.C. You had some
100%.
You had some congressman that came forward that said, hey, we want to investigate it. The Department of Justice, one of the judges said that he had seen that the way that they were treating and the conditions there were worse than third world countries. That was documented by a judge that said, and then just after that, nothing happened. They still stayed in that environment, sub-freezing weather in some areas. You had people that lost their eyes, were beaten. You had a man that was a J6er that was raped by another guard. Nothing happened to the guard.
Well, you do know most of our prisons are like that, though. Like, it's not. This wasn't unique to the J6ers. Like, this happens.
I understand, but these are people that they took off the street. And I'm not saying, by the way, I've been talking about the Department of Justice, the Bureau of Prisons, for a long time. You know, I mentor men to get out of prison.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, but my issue is that we had an opportunity, and you could say tit for tat, accountability, consequences, whatever. You could call whatever you want. We got a 1-page indictment of Comey. We got a 3-page indictment of Letitia James. They're both being treated like that they're at a powder puff game and they're covered in pillows. And the American people are still in a subservient environment where they've been cheated for so long. And every time they turn around, they have people like Kash Patel, Kardashian Patel, whatever you want to call him, and Bondi telling us, "Oh, we're doing the best we can." Look, here's the thing.
You want me to play devil's advocate for 1 second on it?
Well,
and honestly, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because I want to say this: they came hot out the gate and talked about the Epstein files. They gathered all the influencers, handed them a folder and they marched them out onto the lawn. And then it was nothing. There were empty folders. They were losing credibility, and the people inside of his cabinet are the Judases and the Brutuses that are literally making him look like it's a court jester.
See, I wonder if that was all Pam Bondi. I'm not the biggest fan of Pam Bondi.
She's trash.
So that's what I think too. Because if you look back at this, I remember I was thinking this, and I was wondering if someone else was going to look into it, and a whole bunch of people did. Do you know what Trump said about the Epstein files during the entire campaign? How many times he commented on it? Once. And you know what he said? Someone asked him, "Are you going to release the files?" He said, "I have to look into it. I don't even know what's in them, but I'm not going to release something that accuses innocent people of crimes based on gossip." That's all he's ever said about the Epstein files. So all these people that are like, well, he was raping children and doing this, like, we don't actually know much of what's going on because most of the victims, the women that have come forward, are complete crackpots. So it's really hard to say whether they're telling the truth or not, whether they're being paid to tell the truth. And I don't think Trump cares so much about the Epstein files. I know he would. I would like to think that he does, but I think he considers it a distraction. And I think to play devil, it is. But to play devil's advocate about what Trump's doing, if Trump loses the House and Senate, or even one of them in next year's elections, right? He's done. His last 2 years are done. They won't pass a single bit of legislation. The only thing he'll be able to focus on is foreign policy, which everyone's pissed at him about in the first place, that he spends too much time focusing on foreign policy, right? And
100%.
I think that Trump's trying to do what he can to make sure the Republicans win in next year's midterms. If they lose, he might go balls to the wall. But if they win, then he has an opportunity to make literally generational change. Because he's not facing elections. There's no more midterms. There's no more what do people think of us anymore. It's just go for it. But if he starts getting caught in the weeds and making martyrs out of people that regular Democrats don't see as bad people, people like Letitia James, people like we all know these are pieces of shit. Most everyday people, if you ask them who was Letitia James, they'll have no idea. You know what I'm saying? And if you explain it to them, they'll go, oh, yeah, but didn't he do something wrong or something? And if you keep going into it, sooner or later, they're just looking at you like, oh, you're one of those conspiracy jerk-offs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think he's trying to do his best to not galvanize the left, because the only people who vote in midterms are radicals and old people, right? That's why the party in power always loses seats, because the party in power, their people got jazzed up for the general election. They don't get jazzed up for midterms. Nobody votes in midterms, right? So I think he sees that there could be a real opportunity, and he's trying to make things right. Like I called this on Tommy's show last week, and it was funny because I said I don't know if this is a good thing or not, but if Trump was smart going into the midterms, he would give some kind of rebate check to Americans for all this tariff money that he's raised, right? And he announced it like a couple days later. That's what he wants to do. Now, the reason I think it's stupid is because tariffs are nothing more than a tax. And sooner or later, the companies that are paying them, which are all American companies, are going to either pass the costs on to us, or they're going to have to start streamlining operations to save money, right? I think he's convinced them to already do that. If you look at the layoffs that have gone on at Amazon and UPS and Microsoft, and they're not cutting like labor, they're cutting middle management, which are all, kind of trash to begin with. So he's making it so that if he gives the money, we won't see a market increase in prices right away. It won't be like, oh, he gave us this money and now everybody's sinking because everything costs 10 times more, right? I think he's doing a lot of really, really good things. And I think he's encouraging the people he trusts, which we might disagree on who those people are, but he's giving them the opportunity to do some real stuff that Republicans have been advocating for years. Like DeSantis is getting rid of property tax in Florida. Like, who's done that?
We shouldn't have property tax anywhere in the country.
Property tax. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean this is the problem that I have, and we agree on probably most things, right? I mean, we'll probably disagree on the. Oh man.
We disagree on some stuff. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I call it the Jewish versus the Jews, right? I gotta hang out with my brothers who are the Jews, but the Jewish people that hide behind them, I just can't. I gotta find a way to figure out why we can't crack that nut on that group that does really bad things, right? But we live in a place of bondage. I mean, it's actually biblical, right? Like we're in total bondage. We wake up every day, we have to make money, And if you can't make ethical decisions, which 99% of the country can't, you can't do what I did. Most people can't do what I did. Most people don't have the freedom to stand up because what's right is right and take on the consequences. So they shut up. And they say things like, I just have to do my job. I'm just doing my job. Police officers do it, judges do it.
The Nuremberg defense.
Right. And so the reality of it is that means you're a slave. If you cannot wake up every day and do the right thing and not have draconian consequences against you, you're living in a slave state, a slave society. And that is what we've become in our country.
Very much so. Very much so. And I think that Trump is doing the best he can to break that. I really do. Like, I got into an argument the other day, and then we talked about it on Tommy's show with a whole bunch of us yesterday. People have been bitching about this whole 50-year mortgage thing because the interest winds up being so high over 50 years, right? Like, most people that are complaining about it, though, and I'm quite sure you're not one of these people, have never had a mortgage. All mortgages are like 50-year mortgages because you take out a 30-year mortgage and then all of a sudden your kids are getting ready for school or your kids getting ready for college or they need a car or something comes up and what do? You take a second on your house. So, and then you're extended another 30 years. So all mortgages are 50-year mortgages. All they do is they give stability. A 50-year mortgage. You know where your interest payments are going to be every step of the way, right? They know how much principal you're taking out all the way, and giving yourself more money in your pocket to pay bills. So but it's not such a bad thing.
You know what would give you more money to pay your bills? If they stopped taxing the shit out of you and didn't put a draconian tax on your home, right? I mean, look.
Hey, to me, the proper amount of taxes is none. So, I mean, I'm fine with that. I think the only people that should have the right to tax you are county and maybe state, depending on public referendum. Like, I don't believe that anyone should have the right to just throw taxes on you.
But the fact that we get taxed everywhere and that they found a way you can't drive on the street. You get on the street. And by the way, the taxes that are out there are actually meant to favor the wealthy because you have tollways and you can only use the tollways if you have money. So you have a single mother that'll have to go either sit in line for an extra hour because that extra $3 is everything to her, right? Or I mean, no matter what, we literally feast off the poorest among us and give everyone else the entitlements that they don't deserve. And look, I'm not trying to ask for socialism. I'm saying we should build a system that is just simple. It's not like knock on your head, rub on your belly. You got to pay 60 cents a gallon for gas tax. Oh, by the way, you got to pay sales tax. And over here, you got to pay property tax. And then if you own a business, you got to pay business tax. And I mean, we're taxed literally to death.
Mm-hmm. And most of those taxes are done in a way that they're able to fudge the socialism that our retarded state governments bring in because they tax people that in the general population don't care about. The best example is the cigarette taxes, right? They jack up prices on cigarettes because nobody cares if smokers pay more for cigarettes. Then they claim they're going to use that money to fund education, which they never do. And then they wind up funding these ridiculous like trans surgery programs and shit like that because they've got the extra money. But now what? Now you're still hooked on smoking, and the government has a vested interest in keeping you hooked on smoking. So what have they done? Tolls are another way. Why are we just taxing like the government? That's what our state taxes are supposed to go for. Make the roads drivable. That's why the federal government gives money to the states to repair roads. Why is that money not going to roads? Why am I paying a tax to use a road that my taxes pay for in the fucking first place? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody asks these questions because we just look at everything as nickel and dime and not the big picture until the point where the nickel and dimes have added up so much that we're not getting a paycheck anymore. And that's what I took a bit of an issue with before when we talk about the little stuff where we go, I don't give a shit about that, I care about this, or I don't care about this, I care about this. A lot of those little things are the distractions of believing that if they weren't focused on those things, they would be focused on shit that we care about. The problem is they're just not focusing on shit we care about. And it doesn't matter what the examples of shit we don't care about that they're focusing on. It matters that we need to hold their feet to the fire about the shit we do care about.
Yeah. So the other issue that I have is that they use the mule. It's called the mule argument, right? So the muling of I serve the American people and I know what their interests are, and the American people care about killing babies. I mean, in other words, they say it, and then people are like this, and then you have people in the crowd that are placed there are like this, and so then they're looking around and they're like, yeah. And in the back of their head, they're like, I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah, well, you know what the problem is the people that do care about it, the anti-abortion people, right? They're not so passionate about the issue. Like some are. There are some zealots about it. Yeah. But most of the people don't really care that much. but the women do care. And you're seeing in conservative states, abortion bans are being overturned. Constitutional amendments to support abortion bans are being destroyed in the polls. That's the problem when you take an issue that you think has two equal sides, and that both sides are going to vote as if they're that passionate about it. But one side is super passionate about it, and one side's like I don't care if they outlaw abortion. I've been turned around. I used to be like a pretty pro-life guy. Like I still see it as murder. I just don't want my country to become a mixture of Berkeley and Baltimore. So I mean, I look at the people getting the abortions, and I think it's an issue I don't give a shit about so much anymore. But
Because
I still think it's murder.
that it's natural selection almost.
Yeah, like it's not something I'm fighting for. I don't think having millions of unwanted babies is helping anyone right now. So, and could it be done in a way where if we could work together to come up with a system, I would rather see there be no abortions. I'd rather see those babies go to homes that want them and that are willing to pay to raise them and all of that. But we don't agree on anything anymore. The left and right hate each other. So if we can't come to agreements on big issues like that, we shouldn't fuck with what's happening any more than we can.
Okay, so let's so I have a tendency I like to read.
Me too.
And I'm on this, I got these stacks of books that I have to read. And I just read this I read this book about a whistleblower. It's Birkenfeld, Brad Birkenfeld.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he's just an amazing guy. But I finally finished his book, and it's called Lucifer's Banker. Okay. It's a great book. So I finally listened to the book, and I went through and read the book, and I learn from things that most people don't learn from. And I look at the impact of, what he did, his near Ivy League upbringing and all that stuff. And that's not the part that I grabbed onto. The part that I grabbed onto was his recognition in the middle of it, of how corrupt every step of the way was. No matter where he went, there was an element of criminality to the market, right? Mm-hmm. And this is always what's bothered me about where we are in the United States, is that you talk about taking so much meat off the bone that you just don't get a paycheck, you don't have the ability to live, 56 cents on every dollar. You start looking at the issues and we can't get along about basic stuff. I could say cheeseburger and they'd be like, you're a racist because you wanted American cheese. And I'm like, I'll take provolone. See, now you're a real racist.
Or even worse, you're ethnocentric because you love Italians.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
Just throw whatever cheese. Put goat cheese. I don't give a shit. Oh, now you're talking about Muslim.
Now you're pro-Muslim.
Yeah. I'm like, I just want cheese. Just give me cheese. I don't care. Just no toe cheese. Everything else is fine. But what I got from it was, I've spent so much time in my life making sure that the systems by which I operate are done ethically, right? That there's an ethical, that the people that survive, like the bigger companies that survived, there's no question in my mind that they do not play by the rules. There's no question in my mind that the restaurants that are successful don't cut corners and do things that would be considered semi-criminal, because you can't actually play by the rules and be profitable. You can't.
More or less. You're correct.
Which means that the system is designed to make us all slaves.
I mean, that's what one would argue all government is.
So how do we break it? How do we break the back of that? And I'm not negative about this, by the way, because I just decided I was going to fight all the way through. Mm-hmm. But how do we fix it?
The way that we fix it, and I know this is going to sound funny coming from me, the way we fix it is you keep doing what you're doing right now. You're on the internet talking to people about things that you're passionate about, right? That's how we get people involved in the things we care about. That's how we do it. Is we talk to people on a one-to-one basis about the things we care about, and when we care about things together, then we both work to talk about things that we care about. And then when we find two more people, we keep talking about it. And as we keep talking about it, let's get some action involved. Let's go talk to a senator about it. Let's go see if we can run a candidate that we care about. Like the big stuff is stuff we're never going to have any influence on in the first place. And I think that most people accept that. We should, but we don't.
So how do we gain that influence?
We gain that influence by starving the beast, and it happens whether we want it to or not. Okay, we either stop giving so much of our money to Washington, or Washington goes broke, and it's the same principle because they're not going to be able to keep up anyway. Right. We starve the beast. And then sooner or later, people have to come to us and say, I want your vote. And this is why I want your vote, because I'm going to take away these oppressive taxes that are making it so that you can't do the things you need to do for your family. You know, and I understand. And this is where I give people a bit of a pass, or maybe I shouldn't, but I do. It's the economist in me. People love to talk about the failure of globalism, right? Because it led to so many problems. Globalism wasn't a failure. The problem with globalism is what a resounding success it was. Everything is cheap. It's raised poverty levels at the turn of the century last century, the 19th century, right? It was something like 80% of the world lived in abject poverty. Now it's 10. Like, most people are working without a net right now. People don't know how to function in a world where people's primary focus every day is getting food, you know, or figuring out how to not live in a shack with no roof. Like people are trying to get used to this level of excess, and with it comes responsibility that none of our leaders have stood up to. Our leaders don't accept the fact that now that we've gotten here, how do we make things better? They've gotten to the point where it's now that we've gotten here, how do I buy you off? Yeah. What do I offer you that will make you continue to vote for me, even though most of what I'm doing is against your interests? You know, like what little program can I do? What little break can I give you? What little, tax credit can I give you? That'll make you stop bitching. So when I'm robbing the system blind and raising your taxes and doing all the hard shit that politicians do, how do I distract you? And that's what they do. And it's a divide and conquer, and it works. That's why they keep doing it. You know? But again, I think community is the most important thing of all. If you're not involved in your community, you're fighting a losing battle from the beginning, because you're just going to watch how you're just a guy on the internet talking shit.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like to work the problem. I don't like to bitch about something that I can't actually solve. And so I constantly get in that battle mode of, when I was overseas, man, it is a smorgasbord of problem solving. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could go, it was just fun. They're like, hey, we have this water problem. I was like, all right, we're going to put in these pipes. We're going to put in some desilt ponds over here. We're going to make that go down to the major. And they're like, yeah, we have a problem with droughts. And I'm like, no problem. Let's go 400 meters deep. They're like, 400 meters deep? I said, yeah, we'll slope it in 400 meters deep, and then we'll fill back on it. And that way it will keep up with evaporation. And they're like, oh, you're so good at water. I was like, actually, I'm not. I read this book once that talked about evaporation tables and how cold water after a certain depth is so cold that it keeps evaporation from happening at the top. And I go, so I just figured it'd have to work in a pit of water, right?
Yeah. So, let me give you an example. I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'll give you an example from my community. And what's funny is when I give this example, people start going, oh, look, this is what the Jews do. This is this thing I want to see everyone do, right? In one of the biggest religious communities here in New Jersey, a couple guys got together because one of their fathers had bought a refrigerated warehouse, and the client that he bought it to rent to fell through. The guy went bankrupt. So he had this thing, and his kid said to him, can I have it? I mean, they're a wealthy family. So what he wasn't going to feel a financial pinch from giving it to his son. And he said, because what I want to do is this. The hardest thing for large families, people with over 5 kids, is groceries. right? It's just especially kosher groceries. They're ungodly expensive, right? So I want to open up a food bank that doesn't care about financial need. You don't have to go in there and prove you don't make a lot of money or anything like that. I want to make things easier for people that have 5 or more kids. Okay? They called up every kosher food company and said, at the end of the month, send me what you have extra that you can't sell. I'll give you a tax credit for it because we're a nonprofit organization. So you'll be able to get something from it. And they distribute this once a month. So all the families in the area, I think they have like 4,000 families that come there. I go there. And
this sounds like a stud. Love that guy.
And he's been doing this now for 15 years. And the amount of food he gives you, I've added it up before. When you're not talking about the holidays, for the holidays they give you about $4,000 or $5,000 worth of stuff to get through the Rosh Hashanah holidays and then the Passover holidays. But every month they give you about $2,000 worth of groceries, like chicken legs and grape juice and 50 pounds of potatoes and all of this stuff. And they never ask you for a dime. If you want to give money to them when you're like in line or something, they'll tell you, you can't give it to us. Go online if you want to make a donation. We don't want you to feel like you have to come here and give money. We don't want anyone to see you giving us money and think that there's you have to grease us to get this, right? This is something that every community should be doing. They should be looking at their community and going, how do I make their lives a tiny bit easier? Right?
I love what you're saying. I mean, we 8%, is it 8%? So I'll look it up here a second, but it's in the single digits, high single digits of food product that goes bad before it goes bad that they have to discard.
Yep. And why not make it so that you can make big families, which, remember, what is our goal? To have big families. We want to be able to make sure we carry on, that our communities
That's why a lot of these abortions happen, by the way, is because they don't have access to food or food product. The same thing can be said for when you talk about childcare, right?
Right.
So
if you're making life better for the guy who makes 20 grand a year, just as much as you're making it easier for the guy who makes 100 grand a year, but the purpose is to foster families and make sure those families are healthy, and make sure that people want to do stuff like that.
Dude,
have large families.
Let's do that. This gave me an idea. I think I like that idea. I don't know about the kosher part. We're in the middle of the Midwest, man. There's not.
Yeah, no, there's probably not all that.
It's a little harder out here.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's no reason why Catholics can't do that. There's no reason why Irish can't do that. There's no reason why people can't say, Coloradans, right, can't say, we want people to have more babies, and we know how difficult it is. If you look at the reason that most people give, I think it's kind of bullshit, but most people will say it anyway. The reason that they're not having kids is because they can't afford it. Right? So why not do something to make their lives easier? I think it's kind of bullshit because if you look at the biggest families in the world, they're all the poorest families in the world. Yeah. Like the poor, and they make it work. So there's something to it that it's not as hard as people think. But when all's said and done, if you make their lives a little easier, people are going to want to have families if they know that their lives are cared about, that what they're doing, they're not alone. They're not seeing millions of dollars going to illegals to make sure that they have a comfy house and a cell phone. That those money, that the money of the community is going to make sure that we're taking care of the people who are raising our next generations. If we can't do that, how can we talk about a fertility problem? How can we talk about an abortion problem if we're not willing to do the work ourselves without begging Uncle Sam to do it? You know what I'm saying?
But the point is that Uncle Sam is taking it on itself because it adds to the ability to, I'll say, keep a brother down, right? It's you can't.
It destroys it. It destroys charities. If you look at food banks and all things like that, when they were not on the government tit, they were highly effective and they were well funded because the community funded it, the groceries funded. Everybody wants to make sure poor people get food. Right. As soon as the government comes in and says, we think what you're doing is awesome, we'll give you $50,000 a month, all the donors dry up, all the businesses dry up because why are they going to give you money? You're getting all this money from the government. Use it to buy my food then. Don't use it. Why should I donate it to you if you're getting all this money from the government? Why? So you could put it in your pocket? Next thing you know, they're married to the government and they're responsible for adhering to government policies. So now it's not we're trying to make things better for everyone. We're only trying to make things better for whatever selected group the government decides is important this month. Right? And it destroys local charities by getting the government involved. And I mean, this has been documented over the last 100 years. Like, this isn't a new phenomenon.
No, I agree with you fully. I just have a good idea now. I got a warehouse. I might just fill it with freezers. Just have people come in and get food. And I know a bunch of the guys over at Kroger, and I know a bunch of guys at different places. So the issue that I have is that I once wanted to start a water bottling company, bottle water, because I was like, this can't be real. Every time I pick up one of these water bottles, I'm like, it comes out of my faucet, and I just gave somebody $1.50 for that bottle. Drives me crazy.
It's so much more nefarious than you would think.
Oh, it's
if you look into Nestle with it, it's evil. But you know what? I don't want to. Do people know what you do for a living, or like? Because Tommy told me that one of the things you do, and I don't want to say something that the audience doesn't.
Guns, tech.
There you go, guns. Okay, good. Yeah. So you said it. So, okay. You know what you can do for your community? Teach people how to make ammo. Teach them for free.
Yeah.
Okay, because then they'll go hunting. Then they'll come to the range. The biggest impediment to people coming and learning to use firearms and becoming more self-sufficient and more responsible for their lives is the cost of ammo, especially when there's shortages. Right?
Yeah. So
teach
the biggest
people
problem,
how to make ammo.
The biggest problem with ammo. I'm glad you brought that up because it's really interesting that you brought it up because I'm one of the few people that buys primers. So I'll buy 800,000 primers. We don't make them in the United States.
We do, but the issue is they're prioritized towards the military. So
they're here in the United States, but the primers are all made overseas. We don't have any smelting facilities in the United States still. None, zero. There's none left. The last one was in Wyoming, and I know because I tried to buy it. I was like, I want to do this, and the regulations were so.
They really are.
It was draconian. It was impossible to get through, and I was like, look, primers. I'll just make them available. You know, I'll buy 500, 600, 700,000 of these. I'll call my friends like, hey, you need primers, you need primers, you need primers. But the biggest issue that we face in doing that, of making doing your own ammo, is access to primers.
Sure.
Right.
But what I'm saying though is that as a person who has a business where you have the public coming in the first place, why not once a week or once a month or whatever it is, offer a class in reloading? Show people that how they like, because people will collect their brass, right? And they'll clean their brass and they'll start reloading to their own specifications, to the way they like to shoot. Ever since I started reloading, I look at shooting completely different. I've been shooting competitions since I'm 15, right? But ever since I started reloading, which my father taught me, I see it as a completely different thing. Like when people say, "Oh, there's a shortage that's probably going to come," I don't stockpile ammo. I mean, I have plenty of it because I go to the range so often, but I stockpile primers. I stockpile gunpowder because I don't care about having the ammo. I care that I have the ability to make it if I need it, right? I want to be self-sufficient. I don't want to have to rely on others for it. Teaching people these things is such a big deal, especially because now they can load hunting rounds and not pay $20, $30, $40, $50 a box for them. They can load hunting rounds themselves, which is quite easy, especially with a hand press. And now they can go out hunting more often and learn how to live off the land. They can understand what's good for them and become better shots, so they're not just going to a range and throwing ammo down range for the hell of hearing the big bang. You know what I'm saying? So these are things you can do. As soon as Tommy told me that you were in guns, my first thought was, well, I wanted to ask you if you get me a good price on one. 100%. And my second one was, I was saying, if he has the ability, he should be teaching people how to make ammo. I'm a bit of a prepper, so I look at these things and I say, like, my life changed when I learned how to make my own ammo. And I know that a lot of people would consider it to be a huge thing if they learned as well. And you have the ability to do it without really even spending any money. All you're doing is taking a wing of the business and just keeping it open for an extra hour at night or something like that, and saying, "Hey guys, come, it's free. I'll show you how to do it." Maybe pay a guy, $50 to do the hour lecture.
Well, we pay them more
You
than
know?
$50, but I think there's a lot of people that would be interested in that as well.
Sure.
We kind of took all these turns. I could actually talk to you for hours because I think that you and I probably have the same intellect level about learning about things around us. So this is, this is. I want to get back to something though, and that is,
Sure.
I want to talk only because there's certain things that are happening in Israel, and from a geopolitical standpoint, I want to kind of understand your thoughts on this. I think people are interested in this too because we've had such a concentration of what's happening in Israel that there's a real fear that we are cementing our way into kind of the second DC of sorts, that they feel like it's some sort of now joint ownership across pond, that it's like our command center, so to speak. You have a $500 million base that they want to build on the edge of Gaza. Do you see that as, I use the term babysitting a little bit of the region, or do you see this as a good thing or a bad thing? Because it could go both ways, as far as I'm concerned.
So I'm going to have to wear multiple hats in this one. Okay. Is it good for America? Yes. Is it good for Israel? Probably not. Is it good for the Middle East in general? Depends how you look at it. So let me explain the three. Okay. Having a base overseas and the cost is nothing. Okay. We have bases in Germany. We have bases in Japan, England, France, all over the Middle East. Having bases is nothing. It's a good thing for us. It helps us ensure international shipping, which is a good thing. Right. And it also gives us some level of local control in that they become economic powerhouses for the areas around them, right? They foster small businesses, they foster real estate. Everything is good around military bases. Now, what is the problem with this? Number one, we're giving every psycho in Gaza, which Gaza has ISIS, Gaza has Al-Qaeda, Gaza has Hamas, we're putting a target on American soldiers, which I really, really, really don't like, because there will be enormous pressure if there's an attack on American soldiers to respond. And I promise you, no American president wants to get involved with bombing Gaza. It's a muck that you'll never get out of. And they know it, right? So for Israel, I think it's bad because if it keeps things calm for a couple years, I think it leads to a Palestinian state, which I think is a really bad thing for Israel.
You think it's a bad thing?
I know it's a bad thing. It's an unviable state. It's a terror bastion right in the middle of Israel, which is the size of New Jersey. They have enough trouble as it is. But what do I think about the general area? This is something that if you ever get the chance to talk to EM, he's an amazing authority on this.
I have him on a couple times a month.
Yeah, he's awesome. I absolutely love the guy. I disagree with him all the time, but I absolutely love the guy. Right? But he's very right about something and this has gone so unnoticed that I don't know how people aren't screaming about this. Starting in 2016, when Trump first got into office, he made a investment from America in what's called the Counterterrorism Financing Center, I believe it was called. It was opened in Saudi Arabia. Very little press about it. We put in $3.5 billion. And so did the Gulf states. And the sole purpose of this organization was to track where is the money going to fund these different people. Who are the funders of all of this, and how can we track the money from bank to bank, from group to group, in order to stop all these terrorists, right? And what you're seeing now is the results of that. That's why we declared the cartels in Mexico to be a foreign terrorist organization. That's why we're going after Maduro for being a narco-terrorist. Same thing. Is because we're able to concretely say this is where their money is going and where it's coming from and what is it causing around the world, right? So yes. In terms of the greater Middle East, you've seen more and more and more less of a tolerance for the Gulf states, at least, that's Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, like those states, right? Not so much Qatar, but Qatar is us. Right. But basically, you've seen that they don't have the tolerance anymore for terrorism. They're exporting all their trash. The problem is they're exporting their trash to Syria. Syria exports it to Turkey, and Turkey just sends it all into Europe, right? Which I don't think they care. Like people like to say, "Oh, it's a Muslim invasion. They're trying to take over Europe." I don't think the Middle East gives a flying shit about Europe, right? I think that the Middle East looks at Europe and says, this is a group of people that loves chaos because they thrive in chaos. So all of the chaos they've caused over here for all these years by supporting everybody against everybody, we're just going to send them all of our trash because they're broke, they're highly socialistic, and their populations become nuts if you even talk about cutting a benefit to them. And so they've just been sending all of their trash there. What does this?
How do you deal with that trash though? Because I can tell you what's about to happen, and that is it's gonna be a bloodbath. I saw this happen.
Well, if you talk to Yen, he'd say that's the purpose. Is that they're sending them there because they know sooner or later they're going to be taken out violently. You can only cause so much chaos and ask people to die so much, and if they're willing to do it, then they're not really worth saving. Like if people are just like the people that hold up those banners at protests that say I'd rather be raped than racist and stuff like that, like what can you do for people like that? Like if you're that fucking stupid, then Darwin has a prescription for you, right? But most people in Europe don't want to see their countries get destroyed. And even though they may argue and believe some of the propaganda, you know that when governments see a bad policy and instead of addressing the policy, make it illegal to criticize that policy, you know that they're on their last breath, right? That they're completely losing control. And I think Europe might wake up. It might not. I'm not an expert on European political systems, but I think that they've had enough of Turkey sending all this trash there, and I think that there's a real backlash against Turkey. And remember, Turkey is the Muslim Brotherhood.
They sent it here too, by the way. They sent their trash here in the United States.
Just not as much. It's not as big.
You look at Ilhan Omar. I mean, you look at the history of her family. That's the definition of trash. They cause more harm in their country than they ever did, and then brought it here and asked for those same entitlements.
Well, that's Obama. Remember, that was the difference between the leftists and Obama. Most leftists are basically socialists, right? They believe in a strong federal government. They believe in all of this woke nonsense. Obama was an anti-colonialist. There's a big difference. He sees the West as inherently evil, right? And that we foster evil around the world because that's what we do. That's how we colonize the world. So his whole thing was, how do we tear down America and build it back into this kind of socialist, anti-colonialist mess that he wanted? And he did that by importing millions of people. Biden just followed up on it because Biden was just Obama Part 2. The guy couldn't even wipe his own ass, let alone run a country. So it was Obama who was pulling the strings anyway. Remember, Obama said he shouldn't run for office, and all of a sudden the next day he shut down.
100%.
Like Obama is one of the worst enemies that America's seen in a long time, and we are never ever going to overcome all of the shit that he did to us unless we recognize it. And we recognize that bringing the Elon Omars and saying, Obama openly said this during his term, that Maine is too white, and he started sending Somalians there.
And look at Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean that's almost a lost cause at this point.
Minneapolis and St. Paul look like little Somalia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not just bad; it's really, really, really bad.
Right.
People don't feel safe there. They have gang rapes regularly, and it's really bad. I mean, and then they use the pressure that they have on those people not to report it. So I have a friend that works up there in child exploitation and trying to help with women and children that are trafficked through that area. And one of the things that she said is that she goes, Joe, it's 20 or 30 times a week that there's a child that they're seeing that they're having to get out of that environment, and 99% of those children won't say anything. They will not say a word. Mm-hmm. They will not go to they're like, just get me out of here. I don't want to have anything else to do with it. I just want to go. Mm-hmm. So they get away with it. All right, well.
I mean, they just caught a bunch of doctors doing that female genital mutilation in Minnesota. And they were doing it to lots of girls. They were taking girls and cutting off their clitorises so they wouldn't have sensation for sex. They said it kept them from evil. And there are people that are sticking up for them, going, "Oh no, this is cultural. It's okay. It's okay." Like they caught like 5 or 6 doctors that were doing this over a period of 10 years. You know, like how do we allow this kind of evil in our country? And at the same time, that's why I said, how do we focus on something really mundane when this is going on in our country? Like these are the things that Kash Patel should be absolutely focused on, laser pointer focused.
Yeah,
Fuck all this political shit.
He's too busy putting his little cash symbol on his deal, walking around like he's some sort of Hollywood star.
Because he thinks that popularity equals influence, and it's not.
Yeah.
He sees that Trump was so successful with The Apprentice and with all of that, and he says, "Oh, that's why Trump's as powerful as he is." No, Trump's as powerful as he is because he's a leader, and he does what needs to be done, and people trust him to do what needs to be done. Kash Patel is a hanger-on. He's a guy that just likes to show his face, get some clicks, and convince people he knows what's going on. And in doing so, he's wrecking the FBI. Bongino's pretty good, but I don't think he has the ability to do as much as we would like him to. You know,
crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Bro, I love having you on. We're gonna have to have you on again. There's more stuff to talk about for sure. But
anytime you want.
How do people follow you?
Best way to find me is on Twitter @RealHalseyE. That's where I am most. You can find my Patreon. You can go to my website if you want to donate or join my Patreon or anything like that. It's halseyenglish.live, and it'll redirect you to my page. I'm actually drinking. I use 2 tea bags in every tea that someone in your chat asked me. I use 2 tea bags in every tea that I make. One of them's black tea, one of them's green tea, because I like the taste of the green tea, but I like the caffeine jolt from the black tea. So I put one of each in and a little bit of sugar.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, we'll have you on again. Thank you again.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the wealth of knowledge. I told you the thing that I struggle with. I still struggle with it, and
Sure.
I'm trying to figure out how we can put individuals that become a collective into a group, regardless of who they are, even the P. Diddy's of the world. I mean, I don't care what color they are either. I just care that we kind of get rid of the, as you say, take
the trash.
We've got to take out our trash, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of it. All right, brother. God bless you.
I'll send your director the thing about the gun I'm looking for. It's I have a huge family, so I'm always tight on money, but there's something I'm dying for. So if you can find one for me cheap, CZ Shadow 2 carry.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's one of those, no problem.
Excellent.
Do you want the 2087 or which one do you want? You want the full body or the?
No, the carry, the 4-inch.
Okay. I'll get it for you.
Yeah, I'm dying for one. I have my competition is a full size CZ Shadow 2, but I'm dying for the carry. I carry a Glock 19. I carry only full size, but the CZs are just way too heavy at full size. They just pull my pants down. I have to wear suspenders everywhere.
Have you looked at the 365s?
I'm not a fan of Sig Sauer at all.
Okay.
Like I just, it's nothing against them. I know they make great guns. Yeah. Just I'm not a fan of them. I just every time I shoot one, I feel like I have to retrain myself, and I don't never want to do it. I used to feel that way about Glock. My father's a Glock fanatic, and I always told him, "Oh, they're shit. You always have to retrain yourself to shoot them." And then I got real proficient with one, and now I love it as my everyday carry. So
yeah. So I switch back and forth between a CZ and a SIG, and then I have. I have probably 200 guns at my house. You come into my gun room, and you're like, and you look around and you go, "Oh, this is heaven," and 100,000 rounds of ammo. Even though you can only shoot one gun at a time, I got to make sure I have enough ammo for the zombie apocalypse.
Absolutely. Okay, brother. Anytime you want to have me on, just give me a holler. Okay.
Take care. God bless you.
Talk soon. Bye.
Well, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. I'm gonna wait for. We have. Juan will be on in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. When's he on? When's Juan going to be on? Okay, 20 minutes. Good. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, I want to go over some of the stuff with you that I know we talked about a bunch of stuff with Halsey, but there's some other things that I want to talk to you about related to what's happening in on the West Coast with Antifa, with the extremists that beat the preacher. By the way, the guy that at UC Berkeley never threw one punch, got punched almost 15 times, was bleeding everywhere, and got arrested because that's what the police do. They stand up for these criminals. We have information about that particular individual, and I'm going to ask you to make calls because this person should not be employed anywhere. He should be completely canceled. But we'll be right back after this commercial break. Hey, this is just in from Fidelity. Gold could hit $4,000 an ounce as the Federal Reserve cuts rates to cushion the U.S. economy. The dollar drops and central bank keeps adding holdings. Gold has been on a record-breaking tear over the last few years, and it doesn't look to be slowing down in the years to come. Are your savings protected with precious metals like gold and silver? Are you waiting for gold and silver to shoot even higher in price? I want you to call my gold partner, Goldco, today and learn more about what precious metals can do for you. That's 844-960-GOLD or visit untamedgold.com. You'll get a free 2025 gold and silver kit, and you'll get info on the #1 precious metal offer in the game, where you can get up to 10% back in bonus silver just for getting started. But supplies are limited, so don't put it off. Call my gold partner, Goldco, at 844-960-GOLD or visit untamedgold.com. That's 844-960-4653 or visit untamedgold.com. In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle. No? Oh, hey guys. Sorry about that. I had to take a little break, sat here in this chair for 2 hours. Okay. So I want to show you the stuff that we talked about before, and I don't. Well, let's just play it. Here's a tweet by Andy No. It's the far left Muslim extremist who severely beat the TPUSA attendee after robbing him at UC Berkeley has been identified. And so let's put this up if we can. His name is 25-year-old, can't make this up, Jihad Alphabet de Free Paules. 25-year-old listed with the California Public Health. So you can go to @CA Public Health is his employer. He calls himself a rapper. He's known as AR the Believer. He tried desperately to hide his face from the cameras when his disguise was pulled off. He came to the attack wearing gloves. He attends the Lighthouse Mosque in Oakland, California. So he works for the Department of Public Health. No-show jobs. Let's show you some of the pictures of these people. So this is the guy at the bottom right. So there he is. That's the guy that had this stuff pulled off him. You know, you beat up a preacher that doesn't want to. Show the second picture if you would. Here he is trying to hide his face. He was wearing gloves at the time that he did it. Let's show the preacher at the bottom right. There you go. He got punched over 15 times. The police treated the other guy well, and they basically threw this guy around. That's how bad the police force is in Los Angeles. They want to promote and act as a backstop for the criminals, it appears. Really terrible. Here's aerial footage of how the incident started. I want you to see this. Let's go ahead and play cut 2. Yeah, no, he basically is just punching on him. He took continually punching him. This is the guy rips his chain off. Never threw a punch. You can see where the police got involved and they went after the pastor, didn't go after, yeah, pretty crazy. And you can see where the police are nicely walking him away, and what they did to the preacher was unbelievable. And here is a UC Berkeley police chief openly being racist. Let's go play it.
When I started with U.S. Capitol Police, there were 0, as in no persons of color and no women in leadership positions.
She's lying.
I wanted to be a change agent, not only for my organization, but for the profession. I didn't want any women to have the experiences that I had when I was oftentimes sitting in a room that was occupied by only white men, and some of them who thought that I didn't deserve a seat at the...
You don't understand what Yolanda Pittman was. She was at J6. She was one of the people that caused a massive amount of problems in the Capitol Police. And I want to be very clear, she's lying, completely lying when she says that there were no people of color. People of color, black officers have been on the police force in Washington, D.C. and the Capitol Police for decades. But they can just lie and create a narrative that's just not true. It's just not true. But before she was even born, there were black police officers in the Capitol Police. And remember, I want you to remember the black lesbian who was banned from Gold's Gym for complaining about men in the women's locker room. Well, she went ahead and confronted State Senator Scott Wiener. Let's go ahead and play it.
Senator Wiener, as the only black lesbian here, can I please ask you a question, because I flew here to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. As a lesbian woman, who was attacked in the women's locker room at Gold's Gym this week by a self-identifying trans woman with a documented history of domestic violence, I'm deeply concerned about women's safety in female-only spaces. What would you say to women who are seeking assurance that their safety will be protected from men who, by California law, can self-ID as women in women-only spaces, sir? Please tell me.
Yeah, so we want, everyone to be safe, and we also know that, we have trans people, both men and women, who are men and women, and so, so if you're trans women are women.
Senator, you've done great things with the bills you've passed with the housing. I've read a lot of your bills, and like you said, there are bills that need to be opened up, and I'm telling you now, millions of women across America are being harassed and sexually assaulted in locker rooms. I'm a lesbian black woman. I'm not transphobic. I'm not homophobic. And I do respect a lot of the things you've done. But I do see a lot of these bills that you've passed that are dangerous for women and young children. And I understand that you're trying to be on a level playing field. And I'm here to represent my community because I hear a lot of things about my community in these bills. And I'm telling you as a woman, first and foremost, that this is dangerous and we need your help because you're in the office, you're going to go in the Polinsky spot. I want to support you. I have millions of people behind me watching this right now, and we want to know, are you going to protect women? Not trans women? Women, trans women are different things. Women. Listen, we need to protect women's safety. I was assaulted.
Women are women.
I was assaulted. No, they are not. They are men. I was assaulted by men. He broke his wife's jaw so bad she needed reconstructive surgery. I'm a lesbian. I'm not transphobic and I'm black. So if there's another black woman in here who wants to tell me how they feel, please join in. But all of you are not. And I don't know who you are, what you are, but I'm a lesbian, and I'm telling you right now, men are harassing women in the locker room.
Let's let him answer the question.
I'm just telling you, since y'all want to woo.
No, just let's.
Now I'm done. And by the way, I respect what you have done. I just want to let you know that.
Let's give the senator the opportunity.
I'm done.
I appreciate your point of view.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry that you were harassed,
Multiple times.
and I appreciate you talking about it. I think we need to protect the safety of all women, and that obviously that's incredibly important. And I also know that trans women are also brutalized in this country. So women and cisgender women are brutalized in this country, and we have to protect the safety of all women.
We have to protect women. We cannot be raped in the bathrooms by men that want to say they're women. They're not women. They're not women. I'm leaving. It's okay, but I'm not going to take it. I am leaving because you know what? You guys are not protecting women. You're doing a lot. The bills that you're passing for the law, I read a lot of them. They're great. But this things with the trans, it's not right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And my name is Tish Hyman. You heard me, sister? All right. Don't let them use our blackness and our civil rights as a reason to pass weird laws for children to transform. It's wrong. My sister's in jail. She can't get free tampons or soap, but she can get free transformation medication. Big Pharma at its best. Tyler.
Yeah, Scott.
Okay, so let me just put this in perspective for you. Who is Scott? Who is this guy, Scott? Well, he's a gay dude. He's a Jewish gay dude. Jewish gay dude. Aren't they all? Aren't all the ones that say that trans women are women? They're not, they're men. Nobody is brutalizing transgender anything, except for when they show up to Antifa rallies and try to act tough, and then they get punched in the mouth. Nobody's brutalizing. Nobody cares if you want to walk around with a dress on, but you're still a dude. You don't get to go into a women's locker room. Period. You don't. This is a Democrat politician that serves in the Colorado State Senator for District 11 since 16. He represents San Francisco and parts of San Mateo County, including Dale City, Colma, Broadmoor, and South San Francisco. He's openly gay, the co-chair of the California Legislative Jewish Caucus, of course he is, and the former chair of the California Legislative LGBTQ Caucus. I want you to meet Scott Wiener, courtesy of I Find Retards. Put it up. Scott Wiener, there he is right there. I don't know if you can go up too far on that picture. Okay, he's wearing pants. Good. This is the guy that says that trans women are women. These are freaks. These are demonic trash. And it's time that we take out the trash. All of it. Take out all the trash. He can't answer the question. He can't answer the question, and people in the audience were going against a black woman, a lesbian. So she doesn't like penises. I don't know how to say this any better than that. She's a lesbian. And she just, and her whole thing was, look, women are being assaulted. And they're like, trans women are women. You had people in the back that were trannies. They're like, no, they're the same. They're not the same. They're not the same. Just because you played some sort of role-playing game online that you got to switch your gender doesn't make it true. You can't pee in a litter box and call yourself a cat either. It's just not possible. But here's my problem. That woman right there, all she wants to do, she brought it up. She's like, look, there are women and young children. And as she's leaving that room, she tried to be respectful. You know what she tried to do? She tried to reason with demonic. She tried to ingratiate herself with a piece of shit that sat on the stage that doesn't care about her being safe. Why would he care? He'd probably celebrate being assaulted in a locker room. I mean, this is the ridiculousness that I talked about at the very beginning of this show. How is this not ridiculous? Don't have a dude with a penis walking into the locker room. You identify as a woman. Okay, you look like a dude and you got something that swings between your legs. You're going in the man's room. And if you don't like that, get dressed and undressed at home. But then the entire thing about this particular person at the Gold's Gym, this person beat his wife so badly, she literally had to rebuild her face. And then do you know what he did after that? He changed his name to take on her name. Because that's normal. And some judge and a bunch of other people decided they would go along with the charade because they're a part of this Jewish club that this guy's a part of. Jewish club. It's time we take out the trash. It's time we take out the fraternity. It's time we take out the cabal. We take out this cartel. This cartel of evil shit people who, frankly, they're just demons. They're a part of the synagogue of Satan. And we want to apologize for it. Look, if you want to be trans, be trans. But you're not a woman. You're not a man. You're not just as much of anything. You're not any of that. It's make believe. Now I will allow you to do whatever you want. I think the whole world will. Nobody is brutalizing gay people that try to dress up like women. Nobody. It just doesn't happen. Kind of like the swastika by the Jewish guy on the bike in New York City. That put it up there and was like, oh, anti-Semitic. Yeah. By a Jew. That's great. More false flags. So that you can continue to mule and hide behind this victimology while you're actually victimizing people like the woman that stood up to him. Remember what I talked about Kabuki Theater? Juan's going to be joining us here any minute. And he'll give us an update of what's happening with Tina. Here's a tweet. I want to put this up here. This is from DC Drano. And I'm going to tell you why I thought this was interesting. Like, I don't trust anybody on our side. I don't trust anyone. I think 90% of them are full of shit. I think most of them work for Central Casting, and the ones that don't just live in their one-bedroom apartment acting poor, just trying to gather followers as if they're important. But they could never really accomplish anything. DC Drano at least has a job, at least did something in the future. He says, don't worry, Jenna Griswold, we haven't forgotten about you. I will spend the next 3.5 years making sure you are held accountable for your election crimes and for what you did to Gold Star mom Tina Peters. Enjoy. Now, this was in response to what CanCon put out. So if you go all below that, there's that piece of shit. Colorado law is explicitly clear. Jenna and the culprits must be arrested and charged. They destroyed a Gold Star mother and elected officials. And this just goes into tampering with evidence. Any person who knowingly publishes or causes to be published passwords or other confidential information related to a voting machine system shall immediately have their authorized access revoked and is guilty of a Class 5 felony. There's a federal law, too, for active coups. And by the way, the more information that we have out there that we talk about, the more times that we take a left or take a right, or that Kash Patel puts it out there that we're, we've hunted down these nefarious criminals, these pro basketball players, that we needed to arrest them because, the FBI is for law and order. And I will say this, Mr. President, if the FBI is for law and order, then the next thing that we're about to show you should be really important. And go ahead and put up this C7. More than 700 J6ers have been arrested by the end of 2021 under Joe Biden's regime. So far in 2025, Pam Bondi hasn't arrested anyone for the J6 Fedsurrection, and the statute of limitation expires in just 8 short weeks. Pam Bondi is probably not one of my favorite people. I see that we have one. I want to get him on. But when I say that this Kabuki theater is going to continue, I can see some signaling that happened today that's going to signal hopefully the release of Tina here very shortly. But let's hear directly from Juan on an update from Tina. Juan, welcome to the show.
Hey there, how you doing there, Joe?
Good, brother. You don't look like you're in Colorado, but I know you were.
No.
I got a chance to see you when you were here.
That was like 3 days ago. People don't realize just how much I do travel. But, the reason I wanted to come on, we had a show scheduled, and because of my travel, we had to push it back a couple of days, and I apologize for that. But then, of course, this happens, and we have to kind of race it into do this right now. Here's the short version. Tina, of course, she's a cancer survivor, and she has done pretty well. When she was with Jen and I over here in Hawaii, last year and a half ago now, almost 2 years ago now, actually. She was very careful on diet, the way she took care of herself. She has some red light therapy that she does and some things for her back. And to just stay mobile and functional. Of course, obviously, after all these years of stress with the cases and now being in the Colorado prison system, it's taken its toll. And the problem that makes this so urgent right now is that as a cancer survivor, the food in prison is marginal at best. Who knows what dyes they have in there to make the meat look even healthy, let alone, take off the rancid smell. But then there's everything. It doesn't matter if you're talking the water, etc. It's just difficult. If you're a young person, it's very difficult. But she's 70 years old, and has been holding it pretty well. But in the last couple of days, her situation has changed significantly, and she's coughing up a lung right now, similar to what she was when she originally came down with the lung cancer years ago that she beat. I'm very concerned, and it's not Chicken Little crying, oh, sky is falling. I've avoided that all the way along. Hope has a lot to do with how you deal with sickness in your own situation, without a doubt. And, she was told by a number of people in authoritative positions. She looked like she was going to be out on her birthday. A deal was done, and she wasn't released. She's still in there. And now with the health issue suddenly escalating just in the last couple of days, I don't. She's a hero. They'll make monuments to her. We'll get statues. Everybody will be all right there to proclaim how beautiful what she did was and important it was from the patriotic community. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have her than a statue. And it's that serious, okay? She needs today. She doesn't need to go to the infirmary. She doesn't need some infirmary nurse to give her, aspirin. We need her out. We need her where she can get real treatment right now, today, before this escalates further. And I understand, because I've dealt with all the stuff in the legal community. It was Trennis Evans and I that got her moved over into American Rights Alliance, and Peter Tickton is the lead attorney to help out with Tina's existing attorneys. They've done everything right. Justice Department had agreed to certain things, and Colorado was apparently on board with that. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, they didn't get it done on her birthday, and haven't got it done since. And the president just told people the other day, get her out. Well, excuse me. At this point, the talk's over. It's become extremely serious, and whatever you got to do, it's time to get her out. That's the way it is. That's what needs to be done right now. And the only thing I can say is, I'd ask your audience to, not only themselves, but everybody that's within the patriotic community, needs to call the White House. Get Tina Peters out. I don't care about talk anymore. Call the Colorado governor's office. She would be out on appeal if she had, been an axe murderer or a drug dealer or something like that. She's never even had a ticket, a speeding ticket, in her entire life. She's 70 years old. Her son isn't here to fight for her. She's a Gold Star mom. If he was here we are the day after Veterans Day. Everybody's thinking about the war, the fight that these veterans have gone through to have a country at all. She's as much a warrior in this fight as any vet who's ever fought on any war in the country, ever. And he's not here to fight for her. I need everybody here to step up. I don't even care what the excuse is, what the logistics are. The president, whatever you got to do, get it done. Whoever's blocking the way, push him out of the way.
Well, we knew
Same
that
thing
was
at
the
Colorado. The blood's going to be on his hands. You're the governor of Colorado. You can do something to get her out, get her to treatment. She doesn't make it because of all this bullshit. Blood's on you.
Juan, what from our standpoint here, what stopped her from getting out on her birthday? Like I thought it was done. Like the deal was done. Like I had calls from people who were very close on the inside that said, Joe, it's done. It's going to happen. It's going to happen this week. And then I heard that Todd Blanche didn't even sign off on it, and he refused to. And now I saw the letter that Todd Blanche just wrote. Let's just get to the bottom of all of it. Is the people in his administration actively obstructing it and making themselves look like they're incompetent, or that it's more complicated than it is? Like, why are we dealing with this right now?
Let me just say it this way, Joe. I don't really give a flying whatever what the excuse is, who's pointing at who.
Yeah.
At the very top, President Trump, Pam Bondi, these people work for you. You need to step up and cut the bullshit. And by the way, the Inspector General over there at DOJ has some complicity in this. It's not just Todd Blanche. Whatever the reason is, I don't really care at this point, because while they're pontificating and hand wringing and thinking this through and looking at the strategy, President Trump has said very clearly to the American people that Tina Peters is a prisoner. He knows it. Everybody involved knows this. The people in Colorado, the judge, the governor, the secretary of state, they all know that they're grandstanding to make a point that we can't go in the machines. We can't challenge the state officials on the vote, that, Tina was out of order, challenging things the way she was. Let me just say this. In a few days, President Trump is reportedly going to do a talk to the country. He's going to tell the whole country that we're about to change the way that we vote for the 2026 election and beyond, and go to a hand count paper ballot. He said he's going to make an executive order, and in the context of doing that executive order concerning elections, immediately at that time, he's going to declare a national emergency related to elections. When he does that, because of the interference in our election process here nationally by foreign powers, foreign players, and the collusion amongst people within our own intelligence agencies, our own election agencies, and cyber agencies within Homeland Security. It's the most egregious sin against America that's ever happened, to steal the vote, to cooperate in doing that, even by other Americans in lead positions. He's going to talk about the fact that we have the people here in protective custody in America who did the engineering of that theft of the vote 2020 and beyond. And it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be important, because it is going to change everything about our election process from this point forward. It is, there's two things that Trump intends to leave as his legacy for America after he leaves office. It will be free and fair elections where your vote actually gets counted the way you voted, and nobody else comes in and dilutes it who isn't deserving to be able to vote. And then the second thing is honest money. Honest vote and honest money. People that are counterfeiting our votes, that's more valuable than money. That's why it's first. And that's why what he's about to do is going to be the most important thing thus far in his entire time as president. An honest vote for the American citizens. But along the way, I don't want it to be over the dead body of one of the great patriots, just a regular American doing what she's supposed to do, trying to hold the line. The greatest heroine in this whole saga since Trump came to office, in my opinion, because in her case, she signed on to do a relatively straightforward, simple job. And at all the key moments, she stepped up, made hard decisions, and has paid a price greater than most people realize. They attacked her within her family, and the things that they did to steal her husband away in the last days of his life, absolutely grotesque. We have to remember, her son isn't here to fight for her. I need everybody in this audience to decide, I think I'll take his place. I'll stand in that gap. I'll fight for his mom and get this done. I don't care what the rhetoric is. I don't care what the excuse is. At a certain moment, it's time to stop with the talk and get it done. And I don't think that's overstating it, even for the president, even for the governor of Colorado. Governor of Colorado doesn't get this sorted out, blood's on his hands.
Well, I would agree with you fully. And I was told to stand down when I got really upset and pissed off about this a couple months ago. They're like, Joe, we're working on it. And I was like, you're not working fast enough.
Well, but you know what? Let me just say this, Joe. You and I both, and a number of the other people, I've talked with all the players over the last 24 hours. I am so livid because, look, I'll tell you something that I won't talk about further, other than to say this. I have somebody right now that's in a safe house that is moment to moment with intelligence agencies from a half a dozen different countries hunting this person down right now. This has been going on for about 6 weeks.
Is this related
And
to
all we
elections?
need, no, this is not related to elections. It's something else. It's very, very serious. It involves national security to outer space, and we haven't been able to get the decision done to get them out and free and where they're supposed to be. And it makes me want to spit nail. And it's because of this dithering, hand-wringing inaction that cannot be allowed to continue further. It must be addressed. Those people in the administration who are dithering and thinking that they're going to delay this thing somehow so that we don't finally get to Gitmo and all the other things. If there's people inside the administration who are being successful at holding us back and calming people down, there's a moment where you reach the end of it. And there has to be a trigger situation. I think it's Tina Peters. What are you going to wait? She's being assassinated right before your eyes. It's a little slower bullet than happened with Charlie Kirk, but they're assassinating her right now. Get her out of there right this second. Get the ambulance to the door. I'd have an ambulance at the prison door right now, standing by until they let her out. Until the word comes down from on high, marshals go in there and get her. I don't want to hear any rhetoric about, well, we gotta follow. Figure it out. Figure it out. Figure it out over Justice Department. Figure it out over there with Pam Bondi. Figure it out at the president's office. Figure it out and get it done. You can do it. You have the authority. Get it done, and don't do it over her dead life. Not one more day, not one more hour.
Juan, I'm ready to drive a truck through the front gate.
I think I need 1,000 people standing at the gate right now. Let Tina Peters out right fucking now. Gets me off. What are they going to wait until after she's gone, and then they're all going to be, oh, it's so sad. I'm so sorry. Right now, if they get her out this second, she needs to be in hospital care this second with real clinicians that know what they're doing. Get her out right now. No time for talk. I do not want to do this at a funeral procession. Gosh, we all tried. We all tried so hard.
Juan, this is kind of the story of my life. I started the show this way. I started the show with we sit here and it's kabuki theater, and everyone wants to talk and act tough. We're all about arresting pro basketball players that have an illegal poker game or gambling, but we can't take care of the basic principles of the fundamentals of the American ethos, which is free and fair elections. And we're gonna let
the
Tina
best
rot
thing
in
I
jail
can
while we
think
let-
of.
yeah.
The best thing I can think of, Joe, and I've thought this through, but there's need to burn down the phone lines going to the White House.
Yeah.
Put it on redial till you finally get through. They actually know how many calls are waiting when their switchboard gets backed up. They know where the pressure's at.
Guys, give me
Same
the
thing
phone
with
number for the
Governor
White House
Colorado.
right now. Let's put it up on the
We
screen.
need to burn that thing down. They need to feel the heat over there. I don't really care. We're getting ready to go into Venezuela. We're getting ready to do all sorts of important things related to election. We're getting ready for the speech, which is super important. I don't want it to be an afterthought to get Tina to secure safe position and get her the medical treatment right now. If that cancer's back, it's moving by the second. She's coughing up her lungs right now. Get her out.
So this gets me to the point where we'll get the White House deal. I have Pam Bondi's number. I've held
Give her
off
a
on
call.
sending
I've
her.
got people calling right now. I've got other people calling right now. I don't care. Todd Blanche works for you. Step up, get it done. No excuses. Figure it out.
I'm with you.
I just could spit nails. We have been. Look, I'm as cool on this stuff as anybody. Try to hold the line. Let's take a breath. Got to work the system. We're past that now. Her life is on the line. What are you going to come back 2 months from now? Few days later, unfortunately, just the damage is too great. Now, get her out now. Right now. Get her in an ambulance. Get her to a secure facility and start treating her right this second. Figure out where she's at.
So I think this is the part where what Juan is saying is that we're in Colorado. The jail is in Colorado. And yeah, I agree. Mark Lynch said we should have tore the gates of the prison off years ago. A year ago. We should.
We don't. Let me, everybody will have a kumbaya moment. They'll all show up after the fact. They'll have their candles. They'll have their cell phones with the lights. And gosh, I'm so, I sure miss Tina. I sure wish we'd got her out in time. Bullshit. Everybody needs to show up over there. I get, 20,000 cars over there right now. Block the Franken road to the jail. Nobody else gets in or out until we get her out. Whatever you got to do. I don't know what it is precisely. You guys are there. Figure it out. Whatever it is that puts pressure on the governor, whatever it is that puts pressure on the White House, whatever it is that puts pressure on Pam Bondi to make sure they know that she's in the balance right now. I wouldn't be saying this. I wouldn't be crying wolf. But it is that moment right now. If you do it a week from now, it may be too late. Damn it. Along. Let's get it done right now.
I did hear
I'm going to lose you momentarily here. I apologize, Joe. I appreciate it so much that you let me get in here.
Absolutely. I did hear that, and I just actually sent a text message just now saying, is it true or is it not true that they're negotiating her release this week? And it says
they've been saying that for months, weeks.
I know.
All that was a request from Todd Blanche that Colorado hand her over to federal custody. It was a request. It wasn't a demand. It wasn't official in any way except an official request. It was bullshit. Get it done now, and she doesn't need to go to federal custody. She needs to go to a hospital. Get her in a hospital right now.
All right, here we go. We got the Polis number. Where's the Polis's number? Let's do this. Here's Pam Bondi, 202-514-2001. You can call Pam Bondi's office. Let's just get on. I think we should actually. What's that?
Jen is asking you to say it one more time. Yeah, you get those up.
So Pam Bondi is 202-514-2001. The switchboard for the White House is 202-456-1414. That is a switchboard for those tech guys out there that are listening to me, because I know I got friends that are there. Why don't you just put it on speed dial? Just have it just dial. Just keep dialing. Keep dialing. Let's tie it up.
And everybody here, please ask the word. This is the one time it was your mom, it was your sister, your neighbor, whatever. It is movement, and she needs to be heard.
This is where we have an opportunity.
All right.
Jared Polis.
I got to bow out here.
Okay. Juan, God bless you, brother. We'll continue to talk about it. All right, go ahead and let him out. I haven't gotten a call. I was just checking to see if I got a call from Tina Peters. And it looks like, yeah, I have. So I'll be reaching back out to Tina. The White House switchboard, 202-456-1414. Jared Polis, 303-866-2471. 303-866-2471. Everyone knows that what Tina did was righteous. And everyone knows that the radical left weaponized the system and made her a political prisoner. Everyone knows. But those pieces of shit have rounded the wagons, and they're protecting all of the demons within their camp. I'm going to do a special on a case that involves Polis, Phil Weiser, Jenna Griswold, and a $15 million bribery deal. I'm going to do that next week. But here's what I need you to do. 202-456-1414. And here's a public comment line if you want it, 202-456-1111. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to text Pam Bondi when I get off this call, when I get off this deal. And then Jared Polis is 303-866-2471. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and do something on your side. We certainly will on ours. She needs to be out 9 months ago. By the way, I want to point out a couple things about the rotted judiciary that we have and the judges that we have. And I was reviewing some of the depositions that Coomer's lawyers have done, and there was these motions that were pending in front of the judge, and the judge didn't address any of them. And so it caused great harm to a couple of people that were deposed by Coomer's lawyers. And now there's ethics complaints that are being filed. I'm going to file one. I know a lawyer's going to file one. I know that those witnesses are filing one. And then we're filing for sanctions against Coomer's lawyers because all they've done is try to harass, intimidate, and destroy people around me. This is what this system does. These are what these people do. This is what these judges do. These are not good people. Judge Barrett is no different than the judges in Denver District Court. They are rotted to the absolute core. They are some of the most horrible, demonic individuals that you will ever find. There's nothing about them that even is remotely ethical, moral, good. These are the people that literally, they're just evil. And so evil thrives in these evil environments by creating things that are just lies. That's all they are, is big liars. I'm going to tell you that Tina is in jail because of Eric Coomer. Tina is in jail because of men like Eric Coomer and John Polis and people that even by Coomer's own admission, all believe the same thing. That Trump is a bad guy, that you should be able to kill police officers, that, F the pigs, kill the police, F the USA. These are espoused beliefs of people who ran 50% of the vote of the American people. And we have evidence in every way, shape, and form that the elections were stolen. Every way. Every single way. I sat in front of a jury of 8 people with Mike Lindell. And had the judge not violated the course of law, had Judge Wong not violated law and decided for the jury that I find that there is per se defamation, had the judge not said that that was a determining factor and they need not to decide if it was defamation, then they would have thrown it out. But in that case with 8 blue hairs, I call them blue hairs, 8 people on the jury, the one thing that they said is Joe was not defamatory and he was absolutely credible. But what Coomer's lawyers are doing are relying on a system that literally is designed to destroy people. It is evil by itself. And it came for Tina, and it's coming for other people as well. It's coming. Nothing's changed, guys. Tina's still in jail. And you cannot tell me that President Trump cannot reach in and grab Tina Peters out of jail. You cannot tell me that it's more complicated than that, because I know you're lying. And you know how I know you're lying? Because I've seen it happen before. I've seen people that are in jail and they just reached right in, grabbed him out and said, thank you very much. You're going to become a witness. You're going to become you have to work for the federal government. We need you. And she's a witness. And if what Juan is saying is accurate, which I have no reason to believe it's not, but if that's accurate, then Tina is again becoming the useful idiot of people who don't give a shit about her. So prove me wrong, Mr. President. Prove me wrong, Pam Bondi, that you're not standing in the way of justice, that you're not just one of the other rotted apparatuses that would rather go over here and attack pro ball players for having an illegal poker game, and that you actually care about the American people, because right now it doesn't look like you do. It looks like business as usual. You're just an extension of the Biden regime. We don't care about Israel. We don't care about overseas. We don't care about any of it. You know what we care about? We care about the fact that you could stop the grift on the American people. We're tired. Like, there's not much meat left on the bone for us. And I'll leave you with this. Are the left happy? Are people on the left happy? And are people on the right happy? Anybody? Are either side happy? You want to know why? Because we were never designed to be happy. We were designed to be slaves that stand on two sides, that in some sort of gladiatorial contest, we get to fight each other while they sit and eat the spoils of the American people. We were designed to be slaves. And the sad part is that I'm not sure I want to live in a world like that. I'd rather fight. I'd rather rip the doors off of the prison and take Tina out. But then where do you go, right? Where do you go in a system that is designed to defraud the people? These are frauds. Matt Crane is a fraud. Eric Coomer's a fraud. These are people that literally have done nothing but steal and take from the American people in a system, by the way, that they say, how dare you question us? Sit down, shut up. We get to decide what the elections are. This elections is more like it. All right, let's go ahead and pray for Tina. Father God, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Thank you for the trials that you put in our lives. And thank you for the sacrifices that Tina has made. Father, I ask you to put a special blessing over Tina Peters. Lift the burdens and heal her. I ask you to give her the strength to continue and to endure, while, Father, also putting it on the people around in government, putting it in their heart and putting it on their plate that this is a priority to free Tina Peters. We can see it so clearly, the corruption that we're up against and the fact that we are debating the ridiculous. We know that we are fighting evil when evil has no answer other than, I'll do what I want. So, Father, I just ask you that they would not do what they want, and we could get into a place where we can fight back with such velocity that it becomes impossible for them to ignore us. Help us, Father, to stand together. Help us to fight these demons. At the same time, Father, I just ask you to take care of Tina's health, to guard her, and to help us that we may kind of get through all of this that we're dealing with this entire year. I also ask you to bless President Trump and give him the strength to be able to fight through these really bad people who, frankly, are just feckless cowards, self-serving, self-gratifying. And yeah, I'm angry. I'm angry, Father, when someone puts a little pin on their suit that says cash because they're self-promoting, self-aggrandizing, and they forget about the people that they're supposed to serve. That all they care about is, how do I look cool? It's disgusting. So, Father, I just ask that you would give us the ability to fight against who they are, who they've shown themselves to be, that we may protect the interests of the American people and the people around the world that are suffering as a result of these pigs, these really bad people. I ask for these things, Father, very angrily, actually, and I'm sorry for that. But I ask for these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. I'm pissed. There's a prayer meeting tomorrow for Tina, 669-274-9260. Come over and pray with them and Gammy talks about Sharona Bishop. Sharona Bishop is a Fed, just so you know. She's playing for the other side. Gerald Woods, all the Fed boys. It's really bad. I mean, we don't have having people on our side would be very difficult. If you want to know who's on our side, it's the people that are still being persecuted. Patrick Byrne, myself. Yeah, people that are still in the fight, that will fight to the bitter end. I think you can trust every single one of them. The ones you can't trust, oh yeah. Yeah, the treasure hunter, can't trust him. He's full of shit. Yeah, I don't even, I've got to the point now where I just, it's a foregone conclusion. The CIA is deep into doing stuff on our own soil that they have no business doing. They're literally interfering with everything. The people like Chuck Faddis who work with Sidney Powell, that work with Jenna Ellis, that created this entire chaotic environment so that they could start to discredit people. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yet, so predictable. So predictable. Anyway, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. Remember, make the phone calls. And yeah, we'll get back to working the problem tomorrow. All right, God bless you.
Rise up untamed, in the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam. Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Tame nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave